Hello everybody, my name is Pauliner and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing an analysis of all the exclusively breedable monsters in Phase 2 and of course grounded from Phase 3 of the Sapphire breeding quest. So let's start off with Guava Juice. Guava Juice is a really interesting monster. In terms of stats, he has a pretty okay power, a pretty nice life and a pretty nice speed. His trait is immunity to poison, which is god awful. I mean, it's not that awful for nature legendary monsters, but still. His moves are really interesting though. Every single move apart from this one, inflatable hand, which you're not going to run anyways because it's 25 physical damage, is an AoE. Every single one of them. Look, every single one. The really nice combo you can do here is AoE blind and AoE damage reduction. So even if they do hit, they're only going to deal 75% of their initial damage. And then you can follow that up with AoE day. So even if they land at 25% chance of hitting, they're going to do only half the damage. Also, these two skills combined have an 85 base power, so if you run even one strength rune on this guy, that's going to deal a lot of damage. He also has a 45 damage special based AoE remove positive effects and a 40 damage nature based AoE poison, as well as a 40 damage special based AoE 25% stamina drain. But this is in my opinion by far his best move. Deals moderate nature damage to all enemies, applies weakness to nature, earth and water elements to all targets. So if you have any monster with the nature, earth or water AoE, is basically gonna be the end of the enemy team. And what do you know, he does have a nature AoE, so if you run strength runes on this guy, again, the enemy team is just gonna die. In terms of the nature element, Guava Juice is definitely a top 5 monster in my opinion, might even be top 3. In terms of books, he's not in any currently, but let's just hope he gets added to one in the future. Evil Legions definitely sounds fitting for this guy. Anyways, next up we have the most retarded looking monster ever, Acorn. And from now on I'm just gonna end up calling him Acorn Man because I really don't care. In terms of power, this guy has one of the highest powers in the entire game. Life is pretty nice as well and speed is really good. So in terms of stats, Acorn Man here is an amazing monster. And what do you know, he has an amazing water trait as well, immunity to freeze. But then you take a look at moves and you're like, yeah, okay. He has a single freeze, a single stun, and a 50 damage self-energy regen move, but these skills, they're not really too powerful, so it's not really taking advantage of that 3531 power. So maybe he's a denier, right? Maybe, you know, he's showing signs of being a denier with a single freeze, single stun here. But no, he really isn't. The closest thing to denying he has is an AoE stamina leak and an AoE 50% stamina drain. He also has this nice little skill here which deals heavy water damage and gains 50% of stamina, but yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this guy. This guy tries to be an attacker and tries to be a denier, but ultimately kind of fails at both. For water, I suppose he's an okay monster, but that element just has so many way better monsters than this guy. In terms of books, he's in the C book, and because that book is so stacked with deniers, this guy doesn't even come close to being good. And here we have Tulakaju, who is a very recent monster. He's from the Battle Mage's Maze. In terms of stats, Tulakaju has an amazing power, a pretty nice life for fires. Gotta say, you know, a lot of fires just have a really low life, and a really nice speed as well, so he's really good in terms of stats. In terms of trait, he also has a really good one, Hardened, which makes all status effects have a 20% less accuracy against it. In terms of skills, you'll immediately notice that he has only fire ones. So now you're probably thinking, oh no, what if he versus a fire monster, which he obviously will because he's in the fire element. What's he gonna do then? You know, it's gonna be weak. And not to fear, he has open flesh here, which gives fire weakness to all enemy monsters. So if that was weak before, now they're weak to him and he's gonna do extra damage. And even though this is single enemy, I'm pretty sure this is just the 40 damage for the single enemy and the fire weakness for the AoE. And then he can follow that up with a moderate fire damage AoE, which also burns, and that's pretty much the enemy team gone. He also has Melting Sword here, which deals 65 fire based damage and removes all negative status effects from all allies, which is a pretty good skill. And he has a really interesting one as well. So heavy fire damage, that's not really that great, but I guess if he's facing water monsters or someone from the C book, this could be useful. And he also has a 55 damage skill, which removes all positive status effects from all enemies. So Tulakaju is kind of a good monster. He's not really the best fire monster. I mean, he is pretty good. There's better ones like Greedy Dragon, Shalinar, and the thing about this guy is that he's also in 0 books, so that's pretty bad. But if you just want a good fire setup attacker, this guy will definitely sweep the board in 2 turns. And as of the time I'm making this video, grounding has yet to be added to the game and to Monster Wiki. So everything I go off here might not be 100% accurate as it's based off leaks from Turinga. Let's start off with this skill, I Will Rise. Gains double damage, gains precision, requires cooldown. This is a pretty decent self buff, reminds me a bit of Mega Ostian's prehistoric power, except that he doesn't gain any stamina, but still this is a pretty good buff. Burning Your Flash deals very heavy special damage, may poison target, may burn target. Very heavy special damage is usually 60 to 65, that's pretty good, and the fact that it also gives 2 DOTs and appears to have no cooldown, this just makes it an amazing move. Purifying Your Soul deals moderate fire damage to all enemies. All allies gain damage boost, removes all negative status effects from all allies. This is an amazing skill, so whatever they had, if they were blinded, they were dazed, that's all gone. If they were poisoned, burned, that's all basically just gone. And after that they also gain the damage boost and it does a moderate fire AoE, so that's amazing. Nowhere to Run deals moderate water damage to all enemies, removes all positive status effects from all targets. So whatever they had, if they had any damage boost, precision, whatever, stamina regen, that's all gone, and it deals moderate water damage. This is huge because in an all fire war this would just devastate the enemy team. And if you're wondering why the heck is this a water move, is because Vodinoy is in the recipe and he is a toad, of course. Anyways, Tremble in Front of Me deals moderate special damage to a single enemy, may give precision to all allies, removes all negative status effects from all allies, requires cooldown. This is a very similar move to Purifying Your Soul, except that it's not a moderate fire damage AoE, it's just a single special damage skill, and that they don't gain damage boost but precision. Moving on, Granulated removes daze from an ally. An ally doesn't take damage from all elements except special for 1 turn. Now the daze removal is next to meaningless, but the ally not taking damage from all elements except special, that is huge. Okay, here we have this skill, which deals moderate fire damage to all enemies, 50% chance of burning all targets, and 50% chance of poisoning all targets. Now don't get me wrong, this isn't a bad skill, but in terms of skills for this guy, it probably isn't one you want to run. And that's mainly because Accept My Power just completely one-ups that and makes the burn and poison land 100% of the time. And if you're wondering, this is his ultimate, Call Me Master Granui. May burn all targets, may poison all targets, may freeze all targets, definitely a good ultimate, even though it doesn't deal any damage. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Granui. In terms of the fire element, this guy is definitely looking like a very good monster, so you definitely want to try to breed him. But again, this is all based off leaks from Taringa, so it might not end up being 100% accurate. In terms of books, I can imagine him being added to either the Good or Bad Legions book. Basically any monster can get added to those 2 books, or maybe into the Sea book because Vodinoy is also in that book, but he would definitely not do well in it as he is a fire monster and that book is of course filled with water ones. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it for this video, and if you're wondering what the recipes are gonna be for this event, you can check out my part 1 video of the Sapphire breeding quest, and I'll see you next time.